Happy Saturday, Steve.
Hey,
I hope
happy Saturday.
hope you had a great fucking week, man.
It's been pretty good so far.
Good.
You ready to kick this off?
Do it.
There we go. I forgot. This is the not edited down version, so we can just let it podcast. Huh? What? No. It kind of, interludes for a while. But I can edit it out later. This is live podcast.
Oh yeah.
Later
we
podcast. Look and see Blair podcast. Oh, man. I don't know.
We'll try again later. That was.
We weren't really prepared for that one. Although, not that we weren't prepared, but we had no plan going into it.
No, and you didn't really tell me that you didn't have anything. You didn't tell me that it was just like fucking melody.
Yeah, I didn't.
I didn't know I was supposed to do that.
I thought if we just went with it, something might happen.
Something magical.
It didn't.
What are you talking about?
But now I know.
Yeah. All right.
Threw it against the wall. It didn't stick.
For sure.
Moving on.
I'm a little bit better when it comes to talking, when I have to perform and sing and dance. I think I need a little bit of preparation for that.
Sure. And I didn't prepare you because I thought, if I told you too much or something that it might not work as well.
You give me too much credit, man.
I don't know.
I gotta be eased into it.
I like to just go with it, but I should have done a little more prep on the audio to make it kind of work better. So it was my fault.
I need the podcast foreplay.
It was my fault
you can't
completely.
Just throw me in.
You showed me a video, Disclosure, What's in Your Head, unofficial music video on Vimeo.
Yeah.
You said, wait, it gets better, because I really liked the beginning where there's like some girl and she's just dancing, I was really into it, but then it went too far.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know. I was really digging her just dancing by herself. Like, of course, she's like scantily clad and stuff, and she's just kind of, but it looked like a room, but with really high production values. Like, this is just some girl dancing in her underwear.
No, she's totally
just
smoking.
being herself. And I was really into it, but then it just turned into
party.
Yeah, like TNA. And I was just, I don't know. I think I'm becoming, as I get a little bit older, a little more of a sensualist and less of a sexualist, but not necessarily. I don't know.
Well, neither one of those are bad things, The only reason why I said I think it gets better is because you were being a little critical of that beautiful woman there.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, well, if one is,
I was just noting
disproportionate for you. Here's 50 of them dancing around half naked.
No. So. I thought she was very cute. And I was actually making maybe a shitty comment, something I would never say to someone like that. But, she was a little bit chubbier in the middle. But I still thought she wore it well. She looked good. She wasn't a gym rat. Most chicks that would be doing their little dance like that and looking so comfortable in their skin, I think are generally
just so that we have some background noise.
A little more vain. So I don't know. It was kind of.
Dude, she's not.
She's very no.
She just has childbearing hips, and that's the only thing.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's the light. Yeah, you know what? Now I think it's just the lighting, the way it catches her. But excuse me, I'm burping in the microphone. She looked so comfortable and just going with it that, to me,
you're able to critique her a little bit on one flaw that she may have.
No. It's not even that, but it's just she's so comfortable, but she's clearly not I go to the CrossFit gym every day so that I can look my best and stuff. So I was really more commenting on how, I don't know, I was more into it because she wasn't perfect and she was totally just embracing her look and what she had. And I think that, the stereotypes and things like that for women are such that, they have to be perfect or whatever. And
Well, it makes me think that she's a little bit more real and genuine and cute than all
right,
these other girls.
right, absolutely. So
Because
that's
like all
what
these are plastic.
right,
Well,
and
they're not like plastic and fake tits, but they just look like dumb bitches,
yeah,
And a couple of them are just fucking adorable as fuck.
you're right.
But
But it's a whole different vibe. It turns into this thing that's clearly staged, and I'm just not really into it. Whereas the thing before was very real to me,
yeah,
and I really, really dug that.
cool.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll post the
Yeah, I
link
think
or something
no,
so that
most
people can look and see how gross we are. Anyway,
I think it should play in the background as we're talking on the YouTube.
I think that's a little
but-
distracting to me. Anyway, I
Eh.
mean, here if we can like sound off it, then
Alright,
it's less distracting to me. I don't know if there's like a loop thing. Do you want it on loop?
Yes, just the same 30 seconds over and over and over again.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I've already seen this video plenty of times. So. I need a little bit to cheer up, and what better way to cheer yourself up than seeing a bunch of cute 90% naked women
Yeah.
dancing around,
Totally.
smiling, feeling all sexy and shit, pouring shots into their mouths. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that. I think
It
that
just
raises
puts
everybody's mood a bit.
Gay,
or
straight.
it'll put you completely into a depression because it's so far removed from your own life that you're just like.
I suppose you're like, I'll never be with that kind of woman.
Or just it's just like fuck, like what am I doing with my life right now? I'm getting older, and
those girls stay
girls
the same age.
No, but at some point it's going to be creepy for me to be into that, and
Why?
so because I'll be older.
No,
Yeah.
I totally disagree.
I don't know. When I'm
40?
I don't know. When I'm 40, I hope that I'm not like super attracted to like 20-year-olds, because that's torturous. I would hope that like fellow 40-year-old, my peers would be more attractive to me, and I'm sure, mentally and this and that definitely would be.
Yeah.
But
So one thing that I'm kind of
I don't
like
know.
paranoid about is going into my 30s, which is, I still have some time. But I hear that it's like a different game, Like there's all these women, and women that are single in their 30s are going to be, with kids, are going to be divorced, are going to be, so experienced and with so much, dare I say it, baggage, and it's like stuff they have to deal with as a man,
No, well,
and if you don't have that kind of baggage, then you're like, well, what the fuck,
Right. Well, and I mean, I can kind of see that perspective because I do have that kind of baggage, and
You don't have baggage, you have an opportunity and a privilege to raise another human being.
Sure, but the thing is, and I've touched on this kind of before, is that I don't want to be with a girl who has a kid.
Well,
I don't want to deal with that kind of stuff.
The probability of finding someone that's
sure, but the thing is it's just like it's so far from removed from like what I want with my life that like kids just don't really factor into it. I've made that adjustment, and I do what I do. But if I didn't have my time where I don't have my son,
yeah,
I think I would be incredibly unhappy.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I don't know. I guess at the core of it, I'm an incredibly selfish person as far as doing the things that I want to do. And, like, I always see it as something where it just stops me from pursuing opportunities or things that I really want to do. Or even just, I don't know, just I'm the kind of person, too, that once you say no to something or you can't have something,
then it makes you want it even more. So
yeah. So if just because I can't move away makes it all that much harder to say
and more enticing.
I really want to get away. Yeah, and any kind of thing that I think could maybe be solved by just well, it's not working out here, so let me go try out somewhere else. I can't even pursue that notion, and it feels very stifling.
Yeah.
So
trapped.
To be in a relationship with somebody who has a similar issue, that just adds more complexity to my life, and I want it to be as streamlined as kind of simple as possible in that regard, like so that I can take advantage of opportunities when they arise, and I can be there when I need to be, or do what I want to do when I want to do it, to get to
where you
my ultimate goals.
But I think that life hands you situations, and the measure of a man is how he's able to handle the situations.
I agree.
And how he's able to, move forward from them.
Right, I agree, and I think, given the circumstances, I'm doing a good job, but it would just be.
Steve's a great daddy.
Oh, thanks.
All you listeners out there. And he's single, ladies.
Ladies.
He's a provider.
So long as you don't have your own problems. you wanna come deal with my no. That's I don't know. That's a thing that I've always done in relationships where, I do my utmost best to like make my son like not an issue to them.
Yeah.
It's never like, hey, can you watch him for whatever while I go to the store? It's always just like, well, I'm gonna do it. I have to handle it. Or, he wants something. It's like, you ask me, you don't ask.
Yeah,
whatever,
ask your dad.
whatever.
Like.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's.
Well, maybe just because I'm so immature and distant from any kind of like outcome where I have a kid, that it just seems so shocking and like such a hurdle to go over. Like my buddy just kind of found out that he's going to be a daddy. So, it's interesting to hear his perspective because what do you do in that situation? Just, well, whatever.
Yeah, no.
And I'm like, no, don't tell me whatever. Like, you obviously have some really strong feelings about it. He's like, well, yeah, but what can you do about him?
Well,
so you just kind of accept it and move forward from there.
It's really tough too, because I feel like I kind of try to tread a line that's difficult because nobody wants to like talk shit on their kids or there's such a cultural thing where like children are a blessing and that's so great. Like when I found out I was gonna be a dad, like, and I was 17, people were telling me congratulations, and I would just like look at them and just be like, are you fucking insane? Like, why are you telling me that? Like, you don't mean that, for one, because
what
you're
else
thinking
do you
what
say?
I'm thinking.
Dude, your life is
right.
change.
But the thing, yeah, right. I mean, I appreciated my friends who would just look at me and just be like, wow, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
And that's always. Well, actually, nobody really said that, but that's how I have. People have kind of. One time, somebody joked to me that they were going to have a kid, and I was just like, "Wow, how do you feel about that?" And they were like, "Oh, well, I guess this joke doesn't work on you because everybody else, everybody else."
I'm looking for some sympathy here.
Well, everybody else went and like freaked out, like how they were expecting, and I just said, well, how do you feel about it? And that's really the crux of the issue, because it's a good thing if you feel good about it, and it's a bad thing if you feel bad about it. And you can, the way I've always thought of it is you can recognize that it's not a situation that you would have put yourself in knowingly, or, of course,
well, life hands
that's
you situations.
Yeah, that's a possibility, and, but you put it in the back of your mind, and,
you don't even think about it.
Yeah, you can't think that every time that you're going to have sex that that's how it's going to end up, especially if you think people are being responsible, and and just
that's why I drink
Mountain
Dew, Steve.
Right,
because Mountain Dew kills your sperm count.
Well, and just things happen, and whatever, barriers are broken, and plans fail, and
you meet
life
born again Catholics.
Finds a way, whatever.
Yeah.
It's the Jurassic Park situation. You take all of the precautions, yet the monsters still breed. No.
We spared no expense.
Yeah. So I kind of have gotten lost in what I'm saying, but my whole outlook is always just kind of more being honest, where it's just like, yeah, like he's a great kid. I love him. I do everything that I can for him. But that's not to say that if I had a time machine that I would just be like, yep, do it the same way. It's like,
yeah.
Probably.
But I think that goes
to
say with anything in life, like we all wish we could approach different situations differently.
Sure.
And some of them
but
have
longer
repercussions than others.
I mean, I think a lot of times you're like, man, I really fucked up in that meeting. I wish I could go back and redo it again, or I wish I could have taken that class more seriously, or whatever. But when 9 years later you're still just like, man, well,
we're halfway there.
Yeah. No, I mean,
18 years.
I mean, you're never
18 years, and after 18 years, you told you that he wasn't his. Sorry, I'm not really good at quoting Kanye.
Yeah. I love that song.
He's the voice of a generation.
He
Fucking
is.
Genius.
He is. I mean, I love Kanye West. Everybody else wants to talk shit on him, but
well, he's an architect now, so
no,
he needs to be respected.
He works with like 5 or 6 architects at a time. Get it straight.
Oh, my bad. So
anyway,
so I have a lot of buddies that seem to be having hard times in their life, and maybe, I want to be a good friend and be there for them and try to give them the most logical advice that I can, but it's hard to always be that person.
What do you mean? Like to be the person giving advice or
Yeah,
something? Do you
yeah,
do you feel that you're always giving it and never receiving it or something? Or
I think so. Um, like with my family and stuff, they always think of me as being so confident and knowing where I'm going, and in reality, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. And a lot of my buddies, they're kind of, lost in life, and I don't want to say lost, but just kind of trying to figure it out, and just realizing how tough life can be at certain situations.
but I
And
guess
I'm glad to be there for people and to be there and try to, you know, bounce ideas off of them and try to give them some constructive criticism and be really objective with their lives because if I was going through something difficult, then I want someone to like, no, dude, you're lying to yourself or you're not thinking about it correctly, like you're just sugarcoating it or whatever.
yeah.
Like this is how it is. Stop doing that. Like this is how it needs to be. So I wish I'd have people that are just so blunt with me, and I know I do. But recently, it just seems that I'm doing a little bit more therapy.
Are you feeling taxed because you're constantly kind of are you
Not
uh,
taxed, but it make like I'm not naturally an extroverted type of person. I think more naturally I'm a little bit more of an introvert. So it takes effort and it takes energy to come out and to be supportive for people and to be giving them advice and trying to
totally?
like. So yeah, I do feel taxed.
Yeah, I mean a lot of times I mean I genuinely am interested in certain people and get interested, and when they have an issue, I want to talk to them about it. But I think a lot of times most people just want to talk about their issue,
Yeah,
and that's all the help they need is they just need to say it out loud, have somebody know what's going on with them, and that alone is just therapy in itself. Because when you hold things inside, you feel isolated, and you feel like nobody is really understanding, you know, and just putting it out there, talking to somebody, even if you're not really looking for advice. I feel a lot of people talk in a way where they get advice, even though they're not really
but it's
asking
like a
for
grain
it.
of salt
Yeah,
anyway. No, and I feel you. And a lot of people that are trying to express themselves will kind of give you a little tidbit and tell you what's going on, and then like, well, what else is going on? And then you could obviously tell that there's more on their mind. So I think it's good when your friends try to like fish a little bit to really get at that issue.
what else is going on?
Oh, geez, Steve, you're really good at reading the situation.
I know.
No, that's about it. But
I
you
can
know,
I can sense more underneath. What's going
well,
on?
I'm trying to lead into the segue.
And how did that make you feel?
Wonderful, because whereas a lot of people are trying to look for what to do next, I think it's important to have those goals and to have a trajectory in your life, even though you don't really know where it's going to end up, but it's a path.
What are
And
you gonna do next, and or what are your goals?
so I want to transition this to role models, Steve.
Okay,
Role models.
role models.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really care for that movie that much. I mean, there were some pretty funny parts,
Yeah.
but what's his name? Sean William Scott.
Is he in it?
Isn't he?
I don't know. Pull it up.
I don't know who that is, but
You don't know who Sean William Scott is?
I mean, I just said his name, so there's that.
Oh, okay. Well, so you know of his. Oh yeah. Sean William Scott and Paul Rudd. This is actually mediocre to decent movie.
Yeah, I
6.9 and IMDb.
out of what? 10?
75. No, it's funny, dude. I think there's like they go off and I don't know. They get into trouble with the law, so they have to go do like volunteer work and shit like that. So that's kind of how they take the role model position.
Uh, I don't know why I brought that up because I ruined your segue.
No, it's a movie. It's hilarious. So Steve, do you have a role model?
Do I have a role model, like a real person in my life that I am inspired by and
Maybe not in your
seek
life,
out,
but
or
someone that you find admirable, like uh, I, Isaac
excuse
Newton,
me. I mean, sure.
Rem Koolhaas.
I mean, I'm
or
inspired
Tom Maine
by.
from Morphosis, or you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inspired by a lot of people. I would say that everything that I am basically is my own interpretation of all the people that I find inspirational or, you know, interesting.
So I saw a really interesting tweet from someone that you knew. No,
What?
she said, "Your personality is just the average of the 5 people you hang out
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't really hang out with 5 people though. That's the
with."
problem. I mean,
Yeah.
so I guess my average is going to be a little skewed. No, and I think that to a degree, I mean that's a incredible oversimplification because I would think that, you know, if
It is a
I
little insulting, you know, but whatever.
well, I mean, yeah, kind of. I mean, if I didn't have a job, because I spend most of the time with my coworkers,
Yeah.
probably more than anybody, I spend time with my coworkers, and I don't necessarily think that is what they're talking about as far as a reflection goes.
Hmm.
And I don't have a whole lot of time to socialize, so you know, and I don't know, like I feel like there's a truth to it because, you know, very often people kind of gravitate towards other people like them.
Hmm.
And, you know, like if you're a banker and then you start smoking crack, you're probably going to not be able to hang out with your banker friends anymore because, like, hey, dude, he smokes crack
Yeah,
now.
you need to have
You know, and yeah, and
commonalities.
they're going to kind of push that person out because he's like, you know,
Yeah.
he's not a part, he doesn't belong anymore.
Yeah. But has
But
there been like a historical figure that you find being, you know, as a good example, someone that has really great qualities that you'd like to maybe take on? Because there
that's
seems to
tough.
be
I
a role,
mean,
like I don't know if a paradox is the right word, but you want to be your own person and you want to kind of express yourself and really find out the things that make you happy. But I think it's important to look towards the people that are alive right now that are very successful and are doing things that you'd like to be doing.
yeah, I mean,
And
I
maybe
definitely respect certain things and things that people do, but I'm more of a person that separates, you know, the work from the person or separates the person from the work or whatever, you know. So even though I might respect their work, I I don't know, I guess I don't really get super attached or emotionally invested or think that I should be like them or anything like that because I don't know them.
yeah,
And I feel like maybe if I knew more people or personally knew people whose work I looked up to, then I would be more apt to kind of take that role.
for sure.
But at this point, anybody that I would maybe consider a hero or somebody that I look up to or somebody that I respect for their accomplishments, I don't know them. I only have an idea of them. And I think a lot of times it's better just to have that idea as inspiration versus knowing them. You know, there's like a saying, I don't know what it is exactly, or maybe it's just a kind of a thing like you never want to meet your heroes
No, for sure.
because they will only disappoint you or something like that.
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of one of those things, you know, like oh, like little kids they love their, you know, shack or whatever, and then they see him outside of an airport and he's
He
just
doesn't
like,
sign their autographs.
yeah, and
He's
he's
like a
like, fuck
complete
you,
piece of shit.
kid, or whatever, you know, and it's just like, God, you know, what?
The whole piece of shit soundbite. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, too late. Sorry.
So did you get naked?
No,
Did you get naked, Steve?
no,
I want to butt fuck you.
stop it.
Did you get naked?
I know.
Did you get naked? Did you get naked?
How many times are you gonna ask me?
Did you get naked? You got a soundbite of me saying, "Do you want to butt fuck you?" I want to butt fuck you. Steve, this podcast is more for your entertainment than anything else. What the
Well,
fuck?
why the fuck else would I have got it going, you know?
All right. Well, I bring up this topic because I found a very admirable person and someone that I think is very interesting and kind of the pioneer of our age.
I'm flattered.
You're welcome.
Okay, go ahead.
His name's Elon Musk.
Oh, the Tesla guy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What makes him more significant than any other kind of, like, captain of industry? Because
Well,
I know
started from the bottom, now we're here.
Right.
You know, fucking South African who is now, you know, an American slash Canadian.
But he's a
Um,
white South African.
yeah, I
I
know.
think
So it
that
doesn't
that's
really count.
significant. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting reading his biography on Wikipedia. Yeah, he fucking taught himself how to program at the age of 12. He's 42 right now, so he learned programming when like back in 84,
But
85.
everybody who learned programming back then had to teach themselves. It didn't exist.
Sure, but how else do you hear about it?
Sure, right.
By like coming from a rich family that has a computer that's capable of doing that, and that's admirable. He discovered PayPal, sold that shit.
Discovered it.
Well, invented it,
Yeah.
whatever. Um, and he is now able to fucking fund his passions. He has a physics degree and a degree in economics. He only made $1 last year, but he's worth 9.1. So I'm guessing
He's worth 9.1
billion.
oh.
But he only reported $1, so that's how much taxes he has to
Yeah,
pay.
salary $1. Yeah, that's so full of shit. And besides, when you have $9.1 billion, you can fuzzy up the numbers as much as you fucking want to
Yeah.
make. To me, you know what? To me, that $1 salary is actually kind of a dick move because
most
he's
definitely.
pretending that he's not. Because
He's not
maybe
pretending.
because maybe
He's
he
like, dude, I'm
didn't.
so fucking rich. I could claim that I've
Well,
only made $1.
okay, so he didn't make any money, quote unquote. But the thing is, he's CEO and CTO of SpaceX,
And Tesla.
product architect and CEO, Tesla Motors, chairman of Solar City. He's doing all these things. He's building a business. So for him to like not take any money, he's still essentially in charge of these things that are making money.
Yeah.
So even though they're arguably, um, green business models and things like that, it's still business.
Well, look at it. He's already had 2 wives. He has 5 sons, and
Good for him.
however
I
many
feel
fucking
like
offspring that he doesn't even know about. But
possibly.
so that's why you were saying that you shouldn't meet your heroes because they're complete pieces of shit.
Oh,
But
are you saying that because he has 2 wives?
well, I'm sure he's also a piece of shit.
Why is that? I mean, here's the thing though: is like as much as I, don't necessarily want to meet my heroes or this and that, like it I also don't, have unfavorable opinions of people necessarily. So even though I was just like, $1, what a shithead,
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I think he's making a point, which
Well, I don't
is a
like
good
him
point.
for
I
the
like that.
the
I
kind of
like
person
that, but it's it rings false in my it's marketing.
Yeah, but I admire his intellect. I admire his passions, and I admire his ability to be an innovator and an entrepreneur. Um, he's constantly looking at new projects to create. If you look up at the Hyperloop,
Yeah,
which he's trying to develop,
isn't that the rapid
train
transit from L.A. to San Francisco or
yeah,
something?
dude, this thing fucking revs up at 600 miles per hour, man. It's ridiculous.
Uh,
But it's a awesome project where they originally estimated it as being 62 billion. He's like, well, we could do it for like 9 billion.
So he's gonna. Well, if he thinks he can do it for 9 billion, why doesn't he do it?
Well, right?
He's got 9.1. He'll still have the 0.1 to
He'll
live
still
on.
have $1 million left.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Or,
'Cause
well, no, he'd have $100 million left.
Oh, my bad.
Mark, I thought you were the engineer here with your math knowledge.
Apparently not. Fucking A.
I didn't have a button for that.
All right, whatever. So yeah, man, I think this guy is a cool guy, man.
No, he seems like I like his style.
Yeah.
As far as billionaire, entrepreneurs and business people go, I feel like he has, at the very least, an idea of creating products that, through their sale, at least make the world a little bit better.
Yeah.
Or creating systems, or, I mean, he's, things like the Hyperloop and stuff like that. Those are things that governments used to think about and say, what if we did this? Would that, if we could get this to work, that'd be great. Let's get our best people on it, and things would happen. Like we did that when we wanted to go to the moon or all that. But we don't do that anymore. So we need people like this who have a little, I'm sure he's incredibly self-interested as far as watching his business, and if
No, he's
he's
also a
not,
businessman.
other
Yeah.
people are, and I'm sure he's made a lot of shrewd deals that have fucked people over, but at the same time, he still seems to be trying to give something back and contribute something
Well, because all
to
of his
the greater good.
technology, yeah, is geared towards the greater good. Tesla Motors, Hyperloop, his Solar City, like everything is geared towards the longevity of humankind
Right.
and enriching our quality of life.
Well,
Yeah, PayPal is pretty shitty, but
well,
you know,
whatever. I mean, the thing is he seems to have a more long-term goal, which could, if it everything works out and people really take to it, could make him easily the richest man in the world. So there is he's kind of gambling,
yeah.
because he could take his $9 billion probably and do a lot of business with that kind of volume and make a 20% profit in a
Well, that's
year
his
or whatever
worth,
or whatever.
Like,
Right.
you have to take, how much is Tesla worth and how much of an investment he has. So I don't know if he
Right.
actually is worth, like,
No,
he has
no, he
$9
doesn't have
billion.
$9 billion in the
Yeah,
bank. He
yeah.
probably has, like a tenth of that,
Yeah.
but in liquid assets or readily liquefiable
Sure,
assets,
sure,
we'll
sure.
say. But the thing is he could do what a lot of businesses do and just kind of make money with money,
Yeah.
and the world would not be a better place. It would probably be worse. It would mean that he's just sucking it up from somewhere else, probably from the bottom. That's kind of the business model. He seems to be kind of trying to do almost the opposite. Like with the Tesla thing, they started out with, electric cars. Like, who wants that? So they made a really badass electric car that nobody could afford except for really rich people. And then they marketed it as a thing that rich people will buy so that they can afford to make a cheaper car for everybody. Like, no car company on the planet does that. Mercedes Benz wants to make a badass car and then make it exclusive.
Yep.
There's this is my theory anyway. The reason that import cars are so goddamn expensive to fix, or at least I shouldn't say all imports, but European imports, is because they want to make them seem appealing to people who can afford it. Because poor
Well,
people
there's
can't
that. We
afford,
also have to
poor
import
people
the
can't.
parts.
Nah, but that's not a thing. Because you have a Honda or a Toyota, you're arguably importing them from a further distance, and they
There's,
cost less.
there's plants here in the U.S.
There's Mercedes plants as well.
Okay.
Well, they're probably in Mexico. But anyway, I know like the Volkswagen, Audi, whatever are, but you pay a shitload. It's to keep it kind of exclusive so that poor people aren't driving the same car as you. I mean, if you go to Europe, like Mercedes Benz is essentially like the Ford over there.
Yeah.
They have like cheap ass little Mercedes Benzes and Mercedes Benz vans and all this shit. But over here they don't have that, and you have to get a certain level, and I think that they're trying to keep it that way. He's doing the exact opposite. He's starting at the top and trying to open it up to the bottom, and I think that you have to think that your product is better for everyone, and
Yeah.
your goal has to be to get it in the hands of everyone, not just to make more money on it. Because clearly, Porsche makes a shitload of money, and it's because it's exclusive and it's cool
Well,
and whatever.
whereas they're all luxury.
Right. You make way more money on a luxury car than you do on, the equally priced.
But as we were talking in the last podcast, you'd have like these robots that would be tested out on, third world countries and whatnot, like building up their cities, and then we'd incorporate them into, United States or, world powers or whatever. And I think that business model works the same way. It's just as successful as testing your product with the poor as in testing your product with the very rich. But you need to provide a different level of quality to the rich. You need to be providing this very luxurious item and also having that I don't know, hey, this is a brand new car. No one else has
Yeah,
this.
this is
Like,
different
yeah,
and whatever.
you'll be setting a name, you'll be setting a trend. So when you have you're selling that kind of product and using that approach to the very wealthy, like it's gonna make it more appealing. And I don't know, man. I think they're just doing fucking great work. Like, that's what it comes down to. Yeah, the cars are still pretty expensive. What's that say that they're still like around, $30,000, $40,000, or
Yeah,
are they
they're
more?
pretty expensive. I saw one the other day, or
Yeah, I've
got
seen
to,
like one or
or I
two.
mean, I got to like get in one.
Oh, nice.
They're cool as all the shit. Shit.
So
I
kill
was
your
just reading something
heroes.
here. They sell powertrain systems to Daimler, Smart EV, Mercedes A-Class, Toyota for the upcoming electric RAV4. So he's already branching out to get to, it looks like, as a test bed, instead of saying we're only going to keep it Tesla electric, he's licensing
Hmm.
the, that intellectual property.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, you gotta fucking make sure you get paid. But that Hyperloop, man, is just fucking badass.
uh,
Like, it'd be
see,
faster than flying. Like, it's crazy.
his salary is in the form of stock and performance-based bonuses. So its salary is $1, but he gets bonuses and stock. So
Yeah. So.
might as well get paid. I mean, I think it says here like Steve Jobs did that too, and
Yeah, I
I don't
wouldn't be
think
surprised.
he died poor.
Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like a
Well, you
publicity
gotta work the
stunt.
system too, man. Like,
Yeah, I just don't like stunts. It always makes me think like if they're pulling
well,
off
what
some
would you do,
bullshit
dude?
stunt.
Like either you pay like fucking 60% of all that you made that year in taxes, or you pull off some bullshit stunt like
No,
that.
it's a smart option, but I wouldn't say like, oh, I'm reserving that just for me. I mean, everybody. I mean, I would say that everybody in my company would get that kind of thing,
Hmm.
and your paycheck would essentially be your bonus. I don't know, like whatever. I wouldn't make it so that it's just me doing it. If it was truly good for me, then I would try to find a way to make it good for everybody, including like the lowest earners in my company. I don't really
I
see
guess that's why they try to compensate with like philanthropy. Like how much philanthropy has Bill Gates done? And he's just
all of it.
right. He invented philanthropy,
Well,
but
he
he's like
reinvented it.
he's like the original piece of shit. Like
Who?
Bill Gates.
I
He
mean,
brought
was
he
he?
bought MS DOS off some programmer for $10,000 and then
Yeah.
sold it to whatever to develop Microsoft.
Yeah, but that
Like,
person
does
was
he even
willing to
know how to
sell.
write code? Like,
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he put in his work. And, things are, a lot of times, I don't know. I always feel weird. I guess I'm very acutely aware of this, and it always has, like, bothered me, but I understand that that's just kind of the way business and things works. If you have a great idea and you can't you don't have the connections, you don't have the capital, you don't have the this, that, or the other to make it work, and you sell it to somebody who does, they make it work, make a ton of money on it when they sell it, then that's just how it is. You didn't, just because you had the idea or whatever, doesn't mean that you're the one to make it the idea it should be or realize its full potential. With that, I would say that then we need a more, I don't know. I would say that if I had a great idea, I wouldn't want to sell it for cash or whatever. I would say, okay, I want, you know, 5%.
no, no,
So,
definitely.
if that person had said at that time, you know what, you can have it for free, essentially, but I want 5% on
Whatever you make.
whatever you make from it.
Yeah.
That deal, or even if he had said 1%,
1% of
1% of
Microsoft sounds pretty fucking
$100 billion
badass.
that's still
Still a
pretty
billion
sweet.
dollars.
Yeah. I don't know.
So put yourself in the programmer's shoes. Put yourself into his shoes where he spent hours and hours and hours. Yeah, he didn't have a social life, and that's all he wanted to do was just fucking program. And he made this little shitty operating system. Here comes along some guy who's like, hey, that's pretty cool. You want to sell it to me for X amount of money? And you're like, well, I gotta pay some bills. So you do the Walter White approach, and you sell your fucking portion for, a couple months rent
Right.
because you're down on your luck.
No, it's true. But at the same time, maybe he was looking to sell.
Yeah,
We don't know that part of it.
that's true.
Nobody's going to be like, oh, I was begging to sell my, idea, and he came along and gave me at the time a great idea. Turns out he had bigger plans.
Yeah.
I mean, because the thing is nobody sells their idea for less than they think it's worth.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they're
But it's hard to be able to
even if
recognize
they're
the
like
worth, you
right,
know?
exactly. But Bill Gates did. So who's the one that deserves the money? The person who came up with the idea and couldn't see its value, or the person who saw its value and turned it into what it became?
I don't know. I think that's kind of like an ethic and moral issue at that point, you
It
know?
is, which is why, if I really, if I was being ethical and I was gonna, I had a bunch of money or venture capital and I was gonna buy an idea from somebody, I would say like, look, I'm not prepared to offer you as much money as I think this could be worth. However, at this point, it's worth nothing. In your hands,
But I could
it,
transfer it and show it to people that
right.
actually have more money.
You could say that to that person, like, in your hands, I don't think that you can make
You can't
this
do
into what it could be with my resources and my knowledge or whatever. So I'd say, I want to bring you in. I want you to be a part of this, but you're going to be a small part.
Yeah.
And,
Well, that's
you're going to get a percentage. It's going to be a small percentage, but if this turns out to be what I think it is, it'll be a much greater deal than
you could
get right
find.
now.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and I think
and it takes someone with a good, kind soul, to be able to say that to someone. You're like, hey
right.
man, just take this fucking 2% and let me sell your idea, because obviously you can create, but you can't sell worth shit.
Right.
Or
just it, and I think that those kind of decisions and things are hard to come by these days because that's not a good business strategy. You'd rather just buy it and kick that person to the curb.
Yeah.
And if you have a board or investors, I mean, you're legally obligated to kick that asshole out and take their idea and milk it for as much as you can and take all that money and put it back into the company's value so that the stock prices go up. That's literally the law.
Yeah.
So I think that business ethics is kind of dead because it's not about doing the right thing. It's about making the most money and giving it to the people who have already, put money in.
Yeah.
I mean, you could give that person stock or whatever, and essentially they become a stakeholder, but it's not really, it's not the same as saying, you get a percentage of our profits that
But that's just
are
the way the
related
world
to this
works,
product or,
like we're all just chasing dollars.
Sure.
Like there's no fucking consideration for the climate right now because it's just more convenient to keep on doing business as usual.
Yeah.
So
no, it's incredibly difficult to shake up the status quo. Because, well, this just got
weird.
It got dark and depressing.
Anyway,
this whole evening.
Girl with booties, huh?
What?
Girls with shaking their booties around?
Oh, from the thing before?
Yeah. Just play in the background. Just play
her. Yeah. Just dancing.
All right. Well, how do you want to die, Steve?
How do I want to die?
Yeah.
Depends on how old I am.
So, say you're like,
say
you're like 64.
Okay, never mind. I mean,
Do you want to go like skydiving?
Well, yes and no. But here's the thing: is I want my death to be funny or memorable, Like I've had plenty of ideas in the past, and I don't know that I can remember them all right now. But one that I've always thought would be kind of funny: you go skydiving, because that's like the typical, I'd go skydiving and die that way. But that's not. I don't want to just die skydiving. What I want is I want my body to be pushed out of the plane over,
Wait, you're already dead at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a metropolitan area or something like that. My backpack, my parachute backpack, stuffed with like dirty laundry and shit, and a note that just says, haha, good thing you double checked your parachute or something like that. And so I just go plummeting to the ground. They find it and they're just like, oh my God. Of course I like splatter, kind of make a mess. But then they find the backpack, they open it up and they're like, there's no parachute. Even the reserve chute is gone, What
a sick, twisted joke.
Some asshole murdered, and then there's like this murder investigation that they'll never solve because there is no murder. It's just me.
Yeah. You just had like some like robot flying pilot,
Yeah,
an
I don't
airplane
know.
or
I don't
something.
know exact. Working that out would be the hardest part.
Yeah,
But I'd have to get like a
because you don't want to give anyone
unregistered.
liability or
Yeah,
anything like that.
exactly. Like I don't know. Maybe I'd do like a thing where I'm like, I'm gonna beat the the Red Bull guy, the Felix something, where he jumped out of space or something like that. Like I want it to be real high profile, where I'm just doing this stunt and it just went all wrong and nobody can figure out, because that's the thing is there will be no proof, there'll be no evidence, like everybody involved with it will have an alibi because of they'll
Yeah,
know people and stuff. It'll just be me. I'm playing a
you're
joke on
the
the
only
world, so then
culprit.
it's this big crazy thing where it's like he jumped from the moon and when he came in he just crashed into the ground and what was in his bag? Oh, it was just dirty laundry. And then there's all kinds of speculation over like why he was like flailing so oddly. He must have known something was wrong, but really it's just my dead body just
Just
being
ragdolling.
just tumbling through space into the atmosphere. It'd be amazing. It'd be hilarious.
That's perfect. That's a good one.
So yeah, that's how I want to die.
A lot of people say I just jump out and like throw my parachute away at the last minute, and I hear you die of a heart attack before you even hit the ground.
Only if you're a
So,
bitch. A bitch will die of a heart attack on the way down. I ain't scared.
aren't scared.
I don't know. I don't think I mean, maybe when I'm old, I could be scared so much that I could have a heart attack, but I really don't think that you could scare me enough to make me have a heart attack. I mean, people get like guns held to their faces. What's scarier? Like falling out of I mean, arguably that's just as scary as, or being in combat is just as
Oh,
scary as
totally.
falling, like there's a certain inevitability of falling to your death, but I truly think that there are situations where people think that they are inevitably going to die any second just as much.
Because
So
you can
I think
always like
and
bargain your
because
way
they're
out
yeah,
of like
well,
having a gun pointed towards you, whereas
maybe
you know that you're falling. There's no way out of
yeah,
this.
but like people get trapped in fire. Oh, God. People get like trapped in fires and shit like that all the time, and then they're like saved at the last second, and they're like completely certain that they were gonna die, but they didn't
No.
die of a heart attack. They didn't get pulled out and rescued, and well, turns out he died of his heart attack. Too bad, like that just doesn't happen.
We fixed the fire. It was only a little
We
fire.
fixed it. We fixed it.
We fixed it. We put it out.
We unplugged it, plugged it back in, and cycled the power.
Rebooted it.
Yeah, we rebooted the fire, and it's better now.
But he just had a bitch
Yeah.
out heart attack.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they're.
That's a good one, Steve. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
What about you?
Um,
Dying in combat?
um,
Look out, Mark! They're behind you!
no,
Oh my God! There's a cougar! Never mind.
if I was in combat, I'd just do a fucking Forrest Gump, man. I need to go find Bubba.
What?
Anyway,
I
I
don't
want to
remember that part.
die with like skanking it up in the nursing home. Yeah,
I don't know.
dentures.
What? You want to die skanking it up in the nursing home?
Yeah. I'm a simple man, Steve.
I heard a thing the other day where people were talking about nursing homes like having like crazy rates of like STDs and shit like that, because essentially these
I
older,
want to know.
they like can get pregnant and they're from an era where STDs were much less common and stuff, and then it catches and spreads like wildfire, and I'd like to believe that that's true, but I just don't.
Yeah. See, like I was just watching this fucking Trojan condom commercial the other day, and it's like this older like salt and pepper haired guy, and he's like going out, and I don't know if it's his daughter or his daughter-in-law or whatever, and she's like kind of pepping him up, like giving him a little pep talk, putting a little blazer over him, and then he walks out the door of like this nice house, and then I don't know if it's like his son or her husband, son-in-law or whatever, and he's like, hey, just be safe, and he puts like a little condom in his pocket. And I'm like, that fucker doesn't need a goddamn condom. Like, he's hooking up with some woman
Some
that is
older
like
woman.
past her age of being able to get pregnant.
But that's the thing, though, is
And
I
it's
guess
like,
they're,
it's Trojan condoms, bare skin essentials.
Yeah,
It
but
feels like nothing's there.
right? But I guess then maybe they, if they all have that attitude, I mean, by the time that we're old, everybody's gonna have diseases and shit. So maybe that'll be the thing.
I guess. But I want to know is is there an old person that just carried that STD throughout their entire life and just kept on spreading it, or did like that old person hook up with like some young
Yeah, I
person?
guess it kind of had. I would say that they had it. Like
Yeah.
herpes never quits. I'm sure plenty of people all the way back got the herp, and they held it with them. And they're old people, so maybe it's kind of one of those things where either they're like old and senile and they forgot, or or like the old lady's just like, well, like I have bone cancer, like I could give a fuck about some bumps,
Right. I
or
sure wouldn't give a shit.
I mean,
But
if I was in a nursing home, I would basically be living like there's no tomorrow because
there
I'm
really
in a
isn't.
nursing home. Like my family, I'm too much of a burden and I can't live on my own. So I'm in a nursing home. Fucking YOLO. I would be I would be doing my damnedest to just like enjoy the shit out of as many things as I could because my time is short.
Yeah.
And I know that like a sense of serenity like kind of comes over older people where they're like, yeah, fuck it, like
Whatever.
I'm cool with just playing dice or whatever with my homies. I don't know what kind of nursing
No
home
way, man.
there's old
I
men
want to
rolling
think.
dice
I
or
want to
whatever,
think
but
that you. Right. I bet you my dentures, motherfucker. No, dude.
what's up, you bitch?
I just can't imagine a life where I don't have a libido. Like I want to think that that's
I mean,
always gonna be going.
I've always kind of hoped that it would be there as long as I need it or want it, and then like at some point it would just like fuck off, and I could just not care about that.
Wow.
Because
No,
like
I don't know. I
well,
can't even imagine
I
that.
don't know, because I just don't really imagine, regardless of what Viagra commercials try to tell you, I I think that it's pretty gloom older. Like I think people,
Old sex.
yeah, well, and I think especially like old ladies, they're like, I'm a fucking grandmother. I'm all these things. I'm not a
Well,
sexual object
well, you were
anymore.
just
Like I don't
saying that
do this sort of thing.
you were saying earlier that when you're 40, you hope you're not like entirely attracted to 21-year-olds all the
Right.
time. So when you're
Exactly.
fucking
So
60,
when
70, you're gonna want to hope that you're not entirely attracted to 21, 40-year-olds all the time.
well, yeah, if
You're
I,
gonna want
but
to
I
like.
want to be attracted to like what's available to me. And if nothing is available, this is the argument though. If nothing's available to me, I'm guessing that probably the average 65-year-old lady is just not really all that into doing it that much. I could be completely wrong. Maybe they're just, pretty coy and I mean nobody wants to hear about old people sex. But, and maybe other old people do.
Well, we
Maybe
are talking about it.
exactly, and it's a little bit uncomfortable. Um, so I'm thinking that
Hey, man.
if it becomes too difficult to have sex, then I would hope that I just wouldn't want it anymore.
Huh. That's sad.
But then again,
Well, there's like Hugh Hefner, right? He's like old as
he's
fuck.
I think he's just playing it up. I don't think he's had sex in like the last 10 years. Honestly. Like I really don't. I
He's
think
got like a fucking shunt installed. Like when a tree starts like sagging too much, you put up like a post and tie it off.
he's got guide wires for his penis.
Yes.
it's just it's just like he's got like a come along.
Yeah. You ready, baby?
I'm getting it up, baby. And she's like, how do I just go around the wires? Don't worry about it.
Here's another $10,000. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think at this point it's all for show. Like, it's a business model. Like, if he was just like, yeah, I'm just not that into sex anymore, like, people would be like, what? And they'd have to question themselves. Like, maybe there's more to life than just sexiness.
Does anyone
and
even
whatever.
read Playboy anymore?
I don't know. I don't think so, but
Like porn
I'm
has
sure
just been
enough.
so readily available and like.
I'm sure enough. You know what I will say? The people who would be most disappointed by him just giving up and being like, yeah, dude, I'm old and I don't fuck anymore and all this stuff and I don't really have girlfriends. They're paid and whatever. It's just for a reality TV show or whatever. Those people, the people that read that magazine, they're the ones who need to believe that.
Well, I read Playboy for the articles, Steve.
Are there articles in it? I've never read a Playboy. I don't think
The last Playboy I looked at was the Lindsay Lohan one. Because she was all like fucking airbrushed as fuck, so it was looking good.
When was that?
I
Like 2008 or something? Like I
something
can't
like
remember
that.
when she was
I want to say like 2011.
because she's been kind of, I don't know. I can't I can't really remember how long it's been since she's been like a credible, like people were like, yeah, that's cool. Now she's just such like a
No,
wreck.
it was probably like the first or second time that she got out of jail. You
Hmm.
know, so she was like trying to rebuild herself,
Right.
and she wasn't like a complete drug addict because her spread or whatever, she looked pretty voluptuous in it.
I mean, Photoshop is a
It's
fucking
a
sweet
beautiful
tool.
tool.
I've
Yeah,
seen firsthand like what Photoshop can do just
yeah.
on like the average girl, much less, if like
If
you
you have
have
a whole team of
yeah, you have a
Photoshoppers
whole
on,
team of
yeah.
people who really know their shit and all they're doing, and then they have perfect studio lighting
And then they have like
and they
another 50 samples of girls to like
yeah
mix and match.
they
And,
have like skin samples. You can
yeah.
add a little swatch. You can whatever. I mean, you do I'm sure a lot more post production kind of stuff, but I don't know. I can't really imagine.
This is the second time we mentioned Lindsay Lohan on this podcast.
Is it? When did we talk about her before?
With the Parent Trap.
That was completely legitimate, though. I don't know. You just said it the last time.
I do kind of. I don't know.
I think
I think I
she
have a little
came
bit of a
up in
crush
it.
on her.
Really?
Well, when
I
she's
mean,
not addicted to coke and crack and heroin.
is she addicted to crack? I don't think she smoked crack.
No.
I mean, I think she's probably kind of a wreck, but at the same time, like, if I didn't have a job, if people still paid me money to do drugs and just show up at clubs and shit, why wouldn't I?
I guess.
Like, that sounds pretty fucking fun. And as much as people are like, oh, you're hated, like everybody hates you and this and that, like she's still getting paid just to show up places. Like a lot of fucking money. Like more money than, like they get like hundreds of thousands of dollars just to
Oh,
show
yeah.
up at some fucking club and be all wasted and do whatever. Like fuck it. Who doesn't want that life?
This
like
party
anybody...
was brought to you by Grey Goose, everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I did.
Woo,
I worked.
Grey Goose. And then people are like, and why wouldn't you want that? I mean, that would be incredibly hard
Because
to
you have
turn
goals
down.
and ambitions and role models, Steve.
Yeah, but if your only ambition was to be famous or whatever, then why not just do shit that'll make you famous? I mean, she's more famous from her fucking up than she is from her acting.
Yeah.
So
They're all publicity stunts, Just how like the whole
I
fucking
mean,
Miley Cyrus thing of
yeah,
like
to a
twerking
point.
and shit.
Yeah,
And
to a point.
now Justin Bieber being a little piece of shit and getting DWIs.
Well, I think he's just that way because okay, he's acting exactly
he needs a good
like his
old-fashioned
age.
spanking, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
he's acting. I don't blame him at all. Like he's acting his age, but he just happens to have millions and millions of dollars and nobody to tell him no.
yeah.
So of course he's drag racing in Miami, like wasted in a rented Lambo, and he's got like of course he's acting that way. Of course he's throwing eggs at his stupid neighbor's house or whatever because. Well, I feel bad for that guy actually. Because, yeah, exactly. When you were his age, like, what is he, like 20?
Yeah, I think he's 19.
19? Yeah. When you were 19, you did shit like that. You weren't above it. And I did shit like that. But the difference is nobody gave a shit about me, and I didn't have millions and millions of dollars.
I didn't get a DWI.
Yeah, well, you probably could have at one point.
Right.
So, the fact is that just nobody gave a shit, and we're low profile. And he's just doing what he's doing. So I think if people were to just let him be, I don't necessarily think it would be all that bad. But he's going to be pushed into more and more extreme situations because he has wealth and fame,
Well,
which allows him
temporary
access.
fame,
What's that?
He's got temporary fame. He's got temporary looks and
Potentially.
a studio that is willing to auto-tune his voice.
Sure.
And that's going to end one day.
But and
he's just going to be that same piece of shit.
Maybe, but I mean, doesn't he like at least like play real instruments and stuff? Like he was at some point, and I don't know. I imagine he still is like at least somewhat talented.
I don't know.
I mean, he's just a spoiled asshole, and everybody would turn into that given what he's been given.
You're making a lot of excuses for him here, Steve.
I mean, I just don't see. I don't understand why people are like so outraged. It's just like, who wouldn't end up that way?
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck Justin Bieber.
I don't know.
I don't care what you fucking say.
I don't really it's weird because like I don't dislike any celebrities. I don't like any celebrity. It's just like they are what they are. Like it's like they're not heroes of mine, but I kind of treat them the same way. Like I don't know them. I don't
Well, it's
care
just
to,
I think it's
and
just shameful
they are what they are.
and a reflection of our society and the way that we think to be idealizing people with such qualities. You know,
Well, I don't think that they're being idealized. The thing
I
is
definitely think they are.
they're being like thrust into the public sphere. They're being given all, like, we build them up and then tear them down. We love to build them up and
But
we
wouldn't
love to destroy them when they fuck up.
But yeah, I don't know. Wouldn't you be a little bit more conscientious of what you say and do if you
No,
had that?
no, because
No.
nobody is telling Justin Bieber to chill or cool it. Nobody. Because as long as he's getting internet clicks and whatever, and sells out arenas and stuff like that, everybody's like, whatever you want, Justin, whatever you want. I mean, all his friends are like paid friends. Like, he doesn't have real friends. Nobody at that level can have real friends. So he has these paid dudes who are like, yeah, Justin, you're the fucking funniest dude ever. Haha. And you're going to turn into an asshole with that.
Well,
And because he's so big, nobody can tell him to cool it or he's wrong, because they're fucking out of there if that happens.
Yeah.
Because the people that could tell him, like, chill out, cool out, they have too much invested in him. Again, it's like an ethics thing. They make money off of him being an asshole and being him.
well, he's just gonna continue to be an asshole.
Yeah,
And
of course.
come, 10 years from now, 10, 15 years from now, where he's gonna keep on doing the same fucking thing, still drinking, still booking, whatever.
That's
He's gonna be
possible.
this old piece of shit that no one cares about.
Well,
And
you have to hit rock
I
bottom.
used to be someone.
Yeah,
He's gonna
maybe.
be just puffing on a cigarette, fucking hole in his fucking throat, like just being this complete piece of shit.
Maybe,
and
but
that's
what if?
all he'll be.
But
Because
then
people
again, what if he
don't develop?
No, exactly. But that's our fault for consuming it and caring. Because if the thing is if as soon as he started fucking up, if everybody was like, well, that's unbecoming, and they just stopped caring about him or listening, then he would stop, because there would be consequences. The thing is he lives in a world with no consequences, no real consequences. We'll see how it turns out, but I guarantee he
no
spends no
consequences.
time in jail.
He's like smiling at his mugshot. He's
Yeah,
like,
exactly, because he knows that he's got tons of money.
Yeah.
He's famous, and he's not going to serve jail time. He's not going to get in trouble. Nobody of his stature has limits. He can do whatever he wants, and he fucking knows it. So yeah, he's not going to be the only rude
really
awakening.
Jealous, Steve. Jeez.
The only rude awakening he's ever going to have is going to be 20 years from now, when nobody gives a shit about him and he doesn't have that, and he's burned through all his money and he has no influence. Then he'll hit rock bottom. But at the same time, he might just lose all his influence but still have his money, clean his shit up, and just be like, yeah, I used to be famous and whatever. I'm just kind of a dude, and he might pop in every now and then. But if he does that, then people are going to be like, oh, look at him. He turned himself around. We love him even more. And they're going to build, and they're going to build him up again and hope that he fails again, because that would be the story. If they built him up and broke him down again, oh my God. That's what we do, is we build people up so that we can tear their asses down. Because we love them, and they're so cool and talented, and they do this and that, and they should have everything, and then they get everything, and then when they have everything, we're like, fuck that asshole, he's got everything. Why does my life suck so much and his is so cool? I could learn to play drums. Maybe if my fucking parents bought me that goddamn drum set that I wanted on my fucking birthday when I was 9 years old, I could be the fucking Justin Bieber, god damn it! I could have been a fucking star! But so then everybody feels a little bit of that, probably not that extreme, but deep down they feel like a bit of hate and rage,
Steve,
because
we're
they feel like they could have been somebody or something, because they don't see that what he does is difficult in any way, even though it probably is. So then we just love to see them fail and fall apart, because we feel like they were given everything, and we love to see some drama.
We hit a nerve, Steve.
What do you mean?
We hit a severe nerve. Like, I've never seen you so reactive ever.
That was theater of the mind, man. I'm trying to make a podcast here, man.
Fair enough.
It's a little acting. See, I'm talented. Why don't I have millions? No. Plus, it's easier to sound powerful when you can shout point blank into a microphone.
Yeah. Do you feel powerful?
Of course I do.
Good. You are powerful.
Thank you.
Let's see you flex. Look at such power. Dude, that just came out of your muscles.
I
Like,
know.
it wasn't even the fucking soundbite.
That's where it was recorded from.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I get some tickets?
Tickets to the gun show?
Yeah.
How about this gun show?
Sounds like the Civil War. Hold your horses. All right, let's wrap this up.
All right. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Stop reproducing people.
What?
What?
Let's do what?
Stop fucking reproducing. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea.
Okay, well, one more thing.
Hmm.
The only reason why I'm sad is because my buddy just got hired as a firefighter.
Yeah.
He's been a firefighter for about 6 months, and I want him to fucking enjoy his money, man. I want him to enjoy being a firefighter and wooing all the ladies, being on a fucking calendar and shit like that. Like, I want him to live life and pimp it up. But now, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, you know. Everybody has to deal with the choices they make, and, you know, even though they're not ideal, you gotta move on.
And I have another buddy, man. Like, he has a great job, but what's he do? The first thing he does is get some girlfriend that doesn't let him do anything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's tough because I think,
like, we work so hard to be able to go to school and be educated, to work for a life where we're able to have more opportunities and options, only to lock ourselves down.
But I think some people crave that,
I guess,
deep down. Because the thing is nobody's gonna be with someone like that if they don't, on some level, want that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, people,
why does the caged bird sing, Mark?
That's an atmosphere song. It's really good.
It's a lot of things.
But you know, live passionately, live ambitiously, and do things that make you happy. Besides just trying to be comfortable. Fuck, step out of your goddamn comfort zone for once in a while. That's where the magic happens.
Yeah. Chase the magic.
Or the dragon.
Don't do that. It's a bad idea.
It's a hell of a drag.
Drown.